From a sexy exorcist with blue eyes, to a sexy Chad that builds homes, to a sexy man that sold homes, to a sexy general that burns homes. There's a lot of sexiness and real estate in this summer season, and Mushoku Tensei is also here. Anyway, let's get right into the summer vibes with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. From a visual standpoint, Jujutsu Kaisen starts out strong and has been keeping that standard for the first 5 episodes. But what really stood out to me was something that I didn't quite remember, and that is how fast-paced Jujutsu Kaisen is. Keep in mind I'm not a manga reader, so from the opening I was guessing that the first cour was going to be about Gojo's past, so I was shocked when right on episode 3 Riko died. She was featured in the opening. I thought she would last a bit longer. These guys got me again. Do you remember back in season 1 when they bamboozled the anime-onlys like myself by putting a guy in the opening that ended up dying and we all thought he was going to survive? Because anime openings just spoil the entire series, that's just the meta nowadays. Jujutsu Kaisen is brutal, and a lot of that brutality is emphasized by everything just moving so fast. It's fascinating to me, having watched anime for like 20 years or something now, and how anime, much like the entire entertainment medium, has gotten so much faster paced. There are people that like to compare the old shonen trio with the new shonen anime. For example, I've heard comparisons between Bleach and Jujutsu Kaisen, and while I can definitely see some inspiration and perhaps even some more closer similarities, there's no way the Zoomers of today would go through the slog that was the Bleach episodes. When I was younger, I really enjoyed the older style of shonen anime where fights would last forever and things would be very drawn out, namely One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Inuyasha, where episodes would be super padded and nothing would happen at a time. Nowadays, not so much. But I think that Jujutsu Kaisen takes it way too much in the other direction. While every episode has definitely been exciting, I feel like things have been moving too fast for me to get truly attached to any of the characters. Comparing Jujutsu Kaisen with Jigokuraku, for example, Jigokuraku is still a new generation anime, but I was way more attached to the characters in that one because it felt like things had more time to breathe. Here, while Riko's death was shocking, it wasn't as impactful as it could have been because I just didn't have enough time with her as a viewer to truly care. Gojo's defeat and subsequent mental breakdown and transcendence was visually stunning and definitely memorable, but it also felt rushed. And it sucks that everything happened so quickly because this was a very good character moment for Gojo, and also I really liked Mean Daddy, he was a very cool villain. Gojo was defeated in episode 3, and by the end of episode 4 he had already turned Mean Daddy into Swiss cheese, which was definitely way faster of a revenge than I was expecting. Not everything needs a training arc, but come on, one episode really? I feel there was more juice to be squeezed here, which leads me to have mixed feelings about this season of Jujutsu Kaisen. On one hand, from a production standpoint, I think it's by far the best of the dark shonen trio. I love the way they play with colors, how vibrant and violent the fight scenes can be, and how they always set the mood perfectly, from the first scene in the haunted house to the depression scenes with Suguru. I love the sound design. For example, the sound effect of the cold clapping in episode 5 was used masterfully. But everything feels so fast that I barely have time to enjoy it. I just wish they slowed things down a little bit, even if it meant that we had a little bit less of production value at any given moment. I do have high expectations for the remainder of the season, as people like to say that one of the coolest arcs is coming, so I'm looking forward to it, and this is by no means a knock on Jujutsu Kaisen, as from a visual standpoint alone, to me this is a must-watch this season. I just haven't been able to really connect with any of the characters, and hopefully that changes. Now let's go into our main man, Helck. Even though we've already established that Helck isn't an older manga, it definitely feels like an old school work, with its Chad main character, the more traditional fantasy theme of demons and humans, and obviously the style of humor. But don't get me wrong, Helck is not a nostalgia act. This series has been very funny and the gags have been breaking me. Personally, I'm very weak to the chaotically insane style of comedy with a straight man playing it off, and that's a perfect description for Helck's comedy. You have my man running over his mighty steed, he's building houses and rafts by chopping down trees with his hands. This guy can just do it all, and he's so nice even though he's supposed to be the villain towards the demons, which makes it even more hilarious. As I watch these episodes, I start realizing that maybe the reason I like Helck so much is because it fills the hole that Gintama left in my heart. And don't get me wrong, Helck isn't Gintoki and Vamirio isn't Shinpachi, but the style of comedy is very similar and definitely tickles my funny. And now we know why Helck hates humans. Apparently they all converted into these winged pseudo-heroes to attain more power or something, and they left Helck alone as the last human, or something along those lines. Much like in Gintama, there's a serious narrative here that can have a big emotional payoff. The comedy package is great and definitely appreciated, but I'm more curious to see if Helck can do what few anime can, which is blend perfectly the comedy with the serious narrative into an overall package. I will say this, I'm now interested in this plot point where humanity has transcended and now the demons look more human by comparison, and Vamirio and Helck are now in an arc where they can get to know each other better, so I'm looking forward to that. Let's see if Helck can stick the landing. I don't generally like zombie series or movies, it's not really my thing, but Zom 100 is written by the same author as Alice in Borderland, and so I just had to check it out. This one is much more comedic and less serious, and dare I say, from the premise alone, in my opinion, less interesting. And coming with super high expectations, I have to admit this wasn't quite what I was expecting. I'm slowly accepting that Alice in Borderland is probably the author's speak, at least for my particular tastes, as everything he has done since just hasn't quite hit that high to me. Still, if I remove my biases and just look at Zom 100 as a fun anime to watch, then it's pretty good. It's one of those anime where your suspension of disbelief is definitely to be discarded, as if you think about things for more than 20 seconds, nothing really makes sense, but that's part of the fun. And I will say the entire zombie theme is more of a flavorful pretext to explore the characters, as it hasn't really been the focal point of the series. There's a similarity between Alice in Borderland and Zom 100, where both protagonists are lost and depressed and searching for meaning. But whereas in Alice in Borderland Arisu is built through hardship, here Akira is built through epiphany. One day there's a zombie apocalypse and our protagonist is actually ecstatic because he doesn't have to go to work anymore, and so he realizes that he is finally free and decides to live his life to the fullest. There is an interesting topic here regarding how soul-sucking jobs can be and how we postpone our entire lives to cash in on a future that may never come, so this does have a very interesting theme. However, for the first 5 episodes, Zom 100 has been tilting too much towards the comedic side and I haven't really been able to take it very seriously. Zom 100 has been fun, but also has been very goofy, with farting zombies, colorful zombies, naked jokes, and our protagonist in a painted swimsuit fighting against a walking shark with 4 legs. The things men do just for a girl's attention. Unbelievable. At the end of the year, will I say that Zom 100 is a must-watch and an unskippable anime? Likely not. But not everything has to be a masterpiece. Zom 100 has been a fun anime and I would say a very middle-of-the-pack series that can have some comedic elements that everybody can enjoy. In the previous video I explained why I started watching My Happy Marriage and I will let you know that I'm liking it. I am now a proud shoujo enjoyer. Oh yeah! So when I previously compared My Happy Marriage to Cinderella, I now take that back. It was a bad comparison. Even the evil stepmother in Cinderella would be like, that's a bit much. So let's recap these last few episodes. The evil stepsister is jealous of Mio because she's existing happily, and so she conspires with her stepfather to kidnap Mio, lock her in a basement, and physically mistreat her until she calls off the wedding. What is happening? And then the handsome general comes in like, "Where is my woman? Oh, you dare try and stop me? I shall now burn your entire estate." I thought this was supposed to be a wholesome series where we talk about our feelings. Why is everything so dramatic? And the best part is, as of the most recent episodes, there has been no real consequences for all of this. In fact, it's been nothing but upside apparently for the general to burn their mansion. Could you imagine if this was an American series? I can see an American lawyer salivating at this case. You've got kidnapping, psychological abuse, coercion, destruction of property, arson, and worst of all, mistreatment of the elderly. And so now Mio is safe and sound, I guess, learning lady manners from her soon-to-be sister-in-law, but meanwhile the leader of the country wants to stop this marriage because the Kudo family cannot consolidate power. Bro, can this series just chill? I just want her to be happy, damn it. Give her what she wants, give me what I want. Just a happy marriage. So yeah, this series has been a very pleasant, surprising, wild ride. Besides the gorgeous animation, which I never skipped the opening for example, just to look at the rain, I never expected the story to be this convoluted and it's been very entertaining, so definitely I'm gonna keep watching My Happy Marriage. And finally we have Mushoku Tensei, the series that could just let itself be carried by its premise and world and instead keeps getting weirder and more degenerate with every arc under the pretense of character development. At this point, half my enjoyment of Mushoku Tensei is literally just keeping up with it to know what's happening and then going into the Reddit threads afterwards and just witnessing the absolute chaos. I usually write some notes when I'm watching the episodes. Let me read you my notes from episode 6. Buy a slave to sculpt. What? Bro, why are they actually buying a slave? WTF is happening? It's a child and he's talking about ending her life. What am I watching? Creepy dude is now giving the child the name of his dead brother. WTF, please make it stop. This was a weird episode, wasn't it? We go for a date in a slave auction because the weird friend wants to sculpt degenerate figurines. Like, I can't even say anything about this. It's so preposterous, it just blows my mind. At this point, it's gotta be some sort of prank, like the author is testing how far he can go while the fanbase still copes and does the craziest mental gymnastics to defend its awful protagonist. And I can't believe we get this in the same year as Season 2 of Vinland Saga. The irony of destiny. As of the latest episode, I am officially mentally checked out. I'm just going through the motions to see if anything worthwhile happens, because let's be honest, the last few episodes just haven't been good. Rudeus is finally on the University of Magic, hopefully to learn new spells and gain more knowledge. We get a cute new opening that is not too subtle about its symbolism, but really it doesn't need to be. And we get Rudeus finally meeting up with Sylphie again so he can hopefully regain some human connection. And what do we get? Slave auctions, and the main character that is so oblivious that he actually thinks he's starting to like men. Huh? It's been bad. It's been nothing but the author's browser history manifesting itself into fiction. If nothing good happens in the next few episodes, at this point I'm probably just dropping Mushoku Tensei. It's not like I can say this is really surprising to me. The author's tendencies were very clear from the first few episodes, but the series had cool things to look forward to while we hopefully ignore all of this garbage, but lately it's just been very boring, so hopefully it gets better. And so, this has been this week's Ride Along. If you have gotten this far, then thank you for watching. I thought about making this a weekly series, but with my work and travel schedule, it's just not realistic, and let's be real here, anime episodes are 20 minutes, and not all series have much juice to squeeze on a weekly basis. So I'm thinking of popping one of these every few weeks or so, and let's see how you guys enjoy it. Is there any anime you think is a must-watch that I haven't touched on this video? Leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!